Spartacus, House of Ashur, Season 1, Episode 9 features one of the season's most important and emotional episodes, serving as a reckoning and preparation for the inevitable collapse that threatens the carefully constructed world of Ashur. After weeks of manipulation, betrayal, and deliberate power struggles, this episode abandons pretense and forces each protagonist to face the cost of their ambitions in a cruel Roman society where survival is never guaranteed. This hour comes with a heavy sense of finality, as if history itself knows that no one will escape unscathed from what is about to unfold. Ashur remains the focal point of the episode, with Episode 9 perhaps featuring the most well-rounded portrayal of the character. No longer just a cunning opportunist, Ashur struggles with the consequences of his ascension, realizing that maintaining the power gained through betrayal requires constant bloodshed. His paranoia is palpable, his charm increasingly fragile, and it perfectly captures the performance of a man who knows he's beaten many opponents, but who may have gone too far in the end. The script wisely allows Ashur's moments of weakness without making excuses, reminding the viewer why he's as vile as he is charming. Political tensions within Ludus reach a breaking point as alliances break down and long-standing grievances resurface. Episode 9 brilliantly demonstrates that loyalty in Spartacus' world is always conditional, shaped by fear, desire, and the promise of survival. The characters who once seemed united now act with obvious hesitation, each wondering if it would be safer to side with Ashur than stand against him. These shifting dynamics are portrayed through subtle dialogue and meaningful glances, making each interaction seem risky and intentional. One of the biggest strengths of this episode is how it deals with moral ambiguity. None of the characters truly have a sense of justice, and even their seemingly noble actions are steeped in self-interest. The series continues to reject simple heroism and instead depicts a world where choices are measured by their consequences rather than virtue. Episode 9 relies heavily on this philosophy, forcing its characters to do things they know will bother them, but it also robs them of the luxury of hesitation. The action sequences in this episode are unusual, but much more impressive and used strategically rather than wasted. When violence erupts, it feels earned and devastating, emphasizing emotional danger rather than overshadowing it. While the choreography remains vivid and brutal, it's the context that really elevates these moments. Each shot feels symbolic, representing long-held grudges, ambitions, and betrayals that ultimately collide. Visually, Episode 9 maintains the stylized violence of the Spartacus series while leaning into a darker, more oppressive tone. Shadows dominate the frame, reinforcing the sense that each character exists so completely within the light. The production design and costumes subtly reflect the changing power structure. Ashur's environments become increasingly luxurious, even as Ashur's isolation becomes increasingly apparent. This contrast effectively captures the thematic core of the episode. In other words, the power gained through trust only leads to loneliness. The supporting cast shines in this episode, especially the characters who quietly survived Ashur's reign. Episode 9 gives them a chance to express their frustrations, fears, and suppressed anger, turning the supporting characters into emotionally resonant players. These performances heighten the episode's impact, reminding viewers that Ashur's rise left a trail of victims long before the sword was drawn. Essentially, this episode serves as a slow-burning fuse rather than an explosive climax. It intentionally doesn't offer a complete resolution, but builds up the tension until it becomes almost unbearable. This restraint pays off as each scene becomes purposeful, building anticipation for the clearly impending chaos. Episode 9 understands that anticipation is stronger than spectacle and builds confidently on that power. The dialogue in this episode is particularly sharp, filled with layered threats, veiled insults, and moments of brutal honesty. Words were used as deadly weapons as knives, reinforcing the idea that words were often the first act of violence in Roman society. Ashur's dialogue in particular is full of tension, revealing a man who knows how to manipulate the conversation, but who gradually loses control of the story. Ultimately, Spartacus Season 1 Episode 9 succeeds by daring to slow down and examine the emotional ruins left behind by ambition. This is a series about the consequences when power is based on betrayal, the illusion of control, and the inevitability of collapse. As the season's penultimate chapter, it expertly sets the stage for a devastating finale, giving viewers the unmistakable sense that a bloody price will soon befall, and that the House of Ashur,